Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven, and welcome to my recap and review of Animal Kingdom Season number 4, Episode number 8, which is titled Ambo, as in ambulance. So the episode opens up with Darrin and Adrian talking about how they're going to figure out to help Adrian get out of the mess that he's in. So Darrin is actually reading the Living Goods card that Adrian has, and he's trying to figure out whether or not Living Good is married, whether or not he has a girlfriend or a boyfriend, where he lives, and all of that stuff. Basically, Darren wants some dirt on Living Good so that he can help Adrian do something about it. And Adrian is like, "We're going to blackmail." And Darren is like, "You know what? If you want to get out of this mess, you have to do some stuff that you're uncomfortable with." And then the conversation goes to Adrian talking about how they showed him Ox's pictures, and Darren is like, "Ox died in Mexico. You can't really trust the police. It's their job to lie. They'll manipulate you." And Adrian actually asks Aaron whether or not he has killed someone. Like, he asked Darren whether or not he's killed someone, and Darren is like, "No, I haven't." And basically, he just does it. It was a very weird scene because we know that Darren just recently killed Colby, and yeah, it's weird. And you can see that Adrian is rightfully scared of Darren. So it will be interesting to see how these two figure out what to do with the relationship moving forward. So we end up with Joshua, and because Joshua ended up tracking Janine's car, he follows her car and sees that Smurf's car is in the parking lot and she's gone, and he doesn't know where she's gone, what she's up to. So it will be interesting to see what Smurf is doing, because we have no idea. Maybe she has gone to meet some of the team members that she had, like Colin and Jake and whatnot. Who I'm not really sure. So moving on, Angela goes to talk to Pope, and she has these VCR cassettes in her hand, and these are like, there's Bride of Chucky, there's Blade, there's Scream, and all three of the films I've watched. So anyway, Angela's like, "Why don't we act like teenagers like we used to, and why don't we have a horror fest?" And Pope is like, "Angela, I'm busy." And they also talk about Smurf, and Angela tells Pope that Smurf isn't home. She's gone somewhere, and even Pope doesn't know where Smurf's gone. And Angela actually tells Pope that you don't have to hide things from me because you're stealing stuff and all of that, because Angela has been around the Codys since she was like 6 or 7 years old, and she's cool with the jobs that they pull. So we then go to Darren and Greg, and they're talking about some guy who's now homeless, and they used to know him back in high school, and he was just mean. And Greg played like a prank on him by putting a mouse trap in those trash bins that guy was going through to find food. And I was like, "Greg, that's not really nice." But anyway, the conversation goes to towards Ren, and Greg tells Darren that Ren doesn't live with her anymore. And you can basically tell that Greg wants a baby, he wants a child, he wants a little family of his own. And which also makes sense considering how Greg raised Darren. So yeah, Greg has a like that maternal side. So maybe he'll adopt. Who knows? You know what, Greg? Adopt. Go adopt. So they end up stealing the ambulance they need for the job they're pulling. So we go to the flashback, and Janine and the rest of the boys are looking for Pam, and they go to the neighborhood because Jake has been there when they were when they were getting medicine for Pam's son. So they go into their house to break in. Of course, she has run away, and Janine is like, "You won't find anything, so I don't want any part of it. I'm just going out for a smoke." She notices the kids, and she goes to one of the kids, and she basically bribes him with like $2 to tell her where Phoenix and her mom are. And apparently they're at Pam's mother's house, Phoenix's grandmother's. So yeah, you know that Janine is going to pay Pam a little visit. So over at the Codys, everyone has a meeting and they're talking about how they need the heist to go perfectly. And Greg is actually a bit annoyed because Joshua kind of implies that Greg is someone who doesn't understand the plan. So before they disperse, they have to talk about baking a pie. And now because Smurf isn't here and Smurf's the one who always baked the pie, they need to keep the tradition going. And Pope is like, you know what, I'll buy a pie when I come back home. So it's time for the heist, and we have this extra walking by the camera, and actually these two kind of caught my attention. I was like, these two are very pretty. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. So Darren's the one who's driving the ambulance, and a guard stops them, but he shows them the passes and he lets them pass. And while the Codys are like getting ready to steal stuff, Joshua is keeping Olivia's mom busy. And Joshua notices this guard walk by, and he asks Olivia's mom who he is, and apparently he's security, and he goes to check backstage like every 10 to 15 minutes. So Joshua knows that he has to keep this person distracted. So yeah, it was a very quick episode. Basically, not a lot of dialogue happened during the middle of it because they were working on the heist. So anyway, Pope and Darren are using a gurney to carry the keyboards, and you can see that Joshua is keeping the guard busy, and we have Olivia's mom and the assistant back there. So while Pope and Darren are stealing keyboards, Craig ends up putting what's that nitrous oxide, which is nitrous oxide, which is what basically a laughing gas if I'm not wrong. Anyway, I'm not really sure. Into one of the RVs where there are people, there are singers in there, there's groupies in there, and basically he wants to knock them out. So there were a little bit of hiccups during the heist when they were working on opening one of the vans. These two people came in and they noticed that the padlock was missing, but they end up blaming it on some person named Ron. So everything came back on track. So, like I said, after the gas tank, Craig goes in. Everyone is knocked out. He steals the money. He steals all of the jewels. So someone notifies Olivia's mother about everyone being passed out, and she sends the security guard there. And Joshua quickly tells the Codys that the security guard is coming in and need to get out of there. And they do. They do get out, and the guard actually tells them to stop. He's like, "Stop the ambulance." There's like a temporary shutdown, and Darren is like, "I can't stop. I have an OD victim." So he let him pass. So they're free, scot free. But yeah, and then this scene happened. The ambulance gets hit by this Optimus Prime, I guess. But yeah, this yellow truck, and it's bad. It's bad. Everyone is bloody. Even though I knew that this was going to happen because of some of the promo stuff I've seen. When this scene happened, I was like, oh no, oh no, all three need to be alive, and they are. So basically, the person who did this is Tupi. Yeah, and Tupi, because he's so smart, apparently, which he's not. I mean, I'm just making a joke, but Tupi ends up telling Pope to like say hello to his nephew, and you instantly know that was a mistake that Tupi made. There was no reason for Tupi to say that. And anyway, everyone gets up. They have to run away because the police is coming. So they try and grab the keyboards, and this good person comes in to help them. But Greg ends up taking him hostage or whatnot, and he puts him in the ambulance and they steal that person's truck. And I was like, whoa, like you try to be kind, and then this happens. So during the flashback, the boys are trying to figure out what to do. Pam is gone with their money. They really don't know how to act. And Janine is like, I told all of you that this was going to happen. And Colin tells Janine that, Janine, not now, please. And Janine is like, you know what? I'll see you all at the motel. And she walks away. So everyone is at Darren's bar, and they're trying to put cold packs on their wounds. And of course, they can't go to the hospital. And I was like, you know what, Darren, why can't you call that boyfriend you had, that nurse? What was his name? Clark? Yeah, call him. Tell him to check on you all. Yeah. But anyway, they think that it's Raul, but it's not Rahul, and yeah, they don't really know. And Greg is like, maybe it's the person who took Smurf, and Pope is like, Greg, no one took Smurf. So Joshua comes in, and Joshua couldn't come immediately because it would seem suspicious. So he's in, and basically, before they figure out who did this to them, they have to cover their bases. So Darren and Greg have to make it look like an accident. So they leave, and now with Joshua and Pope alone, Pope actually pops off at Joshua and actually blames Joshua for what happened to them. And he's like, Joshua, I can't trust you. You keep running away. We don't know where you are most of the day. And Joshua is like, I didn't do it. And Pope is then tells him that, you know what, we were being watched, and I think we both know who did this. So Janine does pay Pam a visit, and she has a gun pulled on him, and Pam, and yeah, I was actually looking forward to seeing their interaction. So 2P has all of the jewelry laid out on the bed, and Mia's happy, and I'm just like, I had so my expectations for Mia as a character were so high, but then this happened, and I'm like, Mia, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You should have been smarter than this. And of course, Joshua knows that it's Mia and Tupi, especially because Pope told Joshua that the person who did this to them actually told Pope to say hello to his nephew. So Joshua goes to meet Pete. So yeah, Pam and Janine, they're both talking, and Janine is like, I need my money. And Pam is like, why do you need it? Why don't I give you half of it? And you can just tell the boys that you didn't find me. It's more than your share. And then the conversation goes to Janine being pregnant. And yeah, that was the reason that she was like throwing up in the previous episode. And if you go back to my recap of the previous episode, you will see that there were many people who thought that Janine was pregnant. So yeah, your assumption is true. Janine is pregnant, and it's Colin's son, and we all know that it's probably going to be twins. So Colin is like Pope and Julie's father. So the conversation then goes to where Pam is like, I have a son, and he's going to grow up, and he's going to love me. And yeah, she tells Janine that she should have the baby because the baby is going to love her unconditionally. And it's quite interesting to see where Janine ends up getting most of her mannerisms, because Pam's the one who talks in a manner that Smurf does, like baby and being all maternal and being all loving. And yeah, that's the reason I enjoyed these flashbacks, because we get to know more about Janine as a character and everything she learned along the way. So by the end of the conversation, Janine ends up agreeing with Pam, and she takes the win, and she takes half of the money, and she lets Pam go scot free. And I actually liked seeing the interaction between these two well written women characters. It made sense how they talk to each other, and how Smurf ends up becoming who she is in the present day with her children. So Pope comes home, Smurf isn't home yet, Angela's there. Angela's like, Pope, I need to help you. And she does help him. There's like pieces of glass inside Pope. And I was like, ugh. So Darren and Greg are able to destroy Darren's van to make it look like an accident. So over at Pete ends up calling Tupi and Mia, and he is like, Tupi, what were you doing? And Tupi lies, Mia lies too. And then yeah, they're both lying, and I'm like, just tell the truth. Maybe he'll let you live. And again, I had high expectations from Mia as a character. So Joshua's there. Tupi is like, Joshua's just jealous because I took his girlfriend away, and yeah, all of that nonsense. And then Pete notices the chain that Tupi was wearing, and I was like, yeah, Tupi, you're gone. And he's gone. Pete just literally shoots Tupi right in the head. And then he turns to Mia, and he's like, Mia, where's the rest of it? And Mia tells him that the rest of the money and the jewelry is in Tupi's truck. And then Pete leaves Mia alone with Joshua because he wants Joshua to handle the situation. And there's a conversation, and Joshua is like, how did you find out? And Mia is like, I have been watching you. You need to tighten your game, and I can help you with that. And then Mia's like, what did you expect me to do, Joshua? You treated me like a maid and you need me. We can work together. We can do everything we want. We are the same person. And Joshua tells Mia that we are not the same person. You and I are nothing alike. And yeah, Mia, you could just tell that Mia is going to die in this moment. And then Mia tells Joshua that Pete's the one who paid her to kill Baz because Smurf paid him to have Baz killed. And Mia tells Joshua that the Codys aren't his family because families have each other's back and families aren't supposed to do this. And Mia tells Joshua that if he sticks with her, then she can give him a family, like she'll have his back. And it's hard to kill people, but Mia has no trouble killing people, and she can do that for Joshua. And Joshua tells her right in the face that yeah, even though the Codys might not be my family, they're the only family I got. And I was like, bye bye, Mia. It was nice knowing you. Again, I had high expectations from Mia. I wanted her to go toe to toe with Joshua, but she just made the stupid mistake with 2P involved, and I'm disappointed. And they don't show Joshua killing Mia, but there's a bang and a flash of light and a thud. So Mia's dead. Craig is looking mournfully at the crib. He wants Ren back. He even tries to calling Ren, and Ren doesn't pick up and like leave a message. I'm just like, Craig, go and go adopt a child. And also, where was this maternal instinct when Lucy was around? Huh? Why didn't Craig try and get close to Lucy? So Darrin and Adrian are at their house, and Darrin doesn't want to talk about their injuries with his injuries with Adrian. And then he asks Adrian how his spy mission went, and Adrian is like, "Yeah, Living Good. I went to Living Good's house. There was another car in the driveway. It was an SUV." And I'm like, is Adrian trained enough to follow someone without that person knowing that they're being followed? But anyway, Darren asks if there was a kid's seat in the SUV, and Adrian tells yes. So, Darren, I don't want you kidnapping no kids, okay? But maybe he'll kidnap a kid and he'll give that kid to Greg, and Greg will take care of the kid. And I'm like, no, Darren, don't go down that road. Don't kidnap kids. So Angela and Pope are watching movies, and Pope is gaining comfort from Angela. And again, I don't trust Angela. So flashback, Janine comes to meet the boys, and the boys are like, "Where have you been?" She gives them beers, and she is like, "I got the van back." They ask about the money. She's like, "I didn't get no money." Of course, she's lying. And she straight up tells the boys that the next time they pull a job, because she warned them about Pam, they need to give her her cut. Yeah. So she goes into the bathroom with Colin, and she doesn't tell Colin that she's pregnant, but she ends up giving him some money that she took from Pam. And I'm like, Smurf, should you be really trusting Colin? Colin might backstab. We aren't really sure. I don't think you should trust a person, even though he's your baby daddy. So anyway, we see Joshua, and his face is covered with blood and bits of pieces of Mia's skull. And Peter's like, "Did you do it? I didn't think you had it in you," but he did it. And he also tells Pete that Smurf is dying, and that moving forward, Pete will be working with him. And Pete is like, "Do your uncles know?" And Joshua is like, "Not yet." So the episode ends with Joshua trying to make sense of what he just did. He killed the person in cold blood, like he did kill that lawyer, but he ended up slashing her thigh and throwing her in the water. He didn't see her actually die. But this time around, he actually killed Mia in cold blood right in front of his face. And I don't like Joshua. I really don't. He's turning into a murderer. Everyone is a murderer this season. Pope's already a murderer. Joshua's a murderer. Darren killed Colby, and now Greg is the one left, right? I don't think Greg has murdered anyone. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. I enjoyed it. It was a quick episode. We didn't get to know what Smurf has been doing in the present day, so I'm looking forward to knowing more. I'll do a written review of this for the Geekery. The link to that will be down in the comment section below as soon as the review goes up. And yeah, let me know what you thought about the episode. I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the scene between Pam and Janine. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, especially what happens with Adrian and Darrin. So yeah, let me know. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.